On day 30 of tracking every BNPL purchase, I had 800 resources in outstanding installments I'd completely forgotten about, and not $1 showed on my credit report. Let me back up. A few months ago, I started using Buy Now Pay Later the way most people do. Casually, responsibly, or so I thought. Afterpay here, Klarna there. A pair of headphones I needed for work, some shoes that were on sale, and would have sold out by Friday, obviously. A supplement order, I told myself, was a health investment. Each one felt fine. Each one felt small. Because at checkout, that's exactly what it is, small. You don't see $180, you see $45. You don't see $95, you see $23.75. The app shows you a little progress bar, 4 clean boxes, and the number that matters least. The installment, not the total. That's the product. That's not a glitch in the system. That's the system working exactly as designed. And here's the thing I didn't fully understand until I ran this experiment. The problem isn't the payments. It's that BNPL is engineered to make debt feel like it doesn't exist. And when debt feels like nothing, you accumulate it like it's nothing. Until day 30, when you add it all up and realize 847 is very much something. This is that story. Segment hook. Here's how the experiment started. I'd been reading about BNPL psychology. There's actually a pretty significant body of research on this now, and one finding kept showing up. People who use BNPL consistently spend more than people who use credit cards. Not just more than cash, more than credit cards. The thing that's already notorious for making overspending easy. A 2025 study found that BNPL increases total spending compared to traditional credit because the installment framing psychologically reduces the perceived price of the item. You're not comparing $180 to your budget. You're comparing $45 to your budget. And $45 almost always fits. That realization sat with me because I had been using BNPL and thinking I was being disciplined. I was splitting payments instead of carrying a balance. I was avoiding interest. I was being smart. Right? Maybe not. So I decided to run a real experiment. 30 days. Every BNPL transaction gets logged. I'm recording 3 data points for each one. Number 1, the full purchase price. What the item actually costs. Number 2, the felt price. The installment amount I saw at checkout. The number that actually influenced my decision. Number 3, the total outstanding BNPL balance across all active plans. Not what I owe this week. Everything. The full picture. The goal was simple. What does my BNPL life actually look like when I can see all of it at once? I expected it to be a little uncomfortable. I did not expect $847. Segment hook. Week 1. 3 purchases. Here's where it got interesting. The first week went exactly like I thought it would. I made 3 purchases. I logged them. I felt totally in control. Purchase 1. Headphones, $180. I'd been wanting them for a while and they were on sale. At checkout, Afterpay split it into 4 payments of $45. I remember thinking, $45, I can handle that. Logged it. Moving on. Purchase 2. Shoes. $95. Running shoes. Technically a necessity. Technically. Klarna offered 4 payments of $23 for hours. Again, felt fine. Logged it. Purchase 3. Supplement order. $60. 4 payments of $15. Barely noticeable. At the end of week 1, I looked at my tracker. Total BNPL I'd entered into. 335 total that it had felt like at checkout. The number that actually registered in my brain when I made those decisions. $83.75. Read that again. My brain had processed $3,555 in new financial obligations as if they cost $83.75. That alone should have been the wake-up call. But here's where the experiment got actually interesting. Week 2, no new purchases. I was trying to be disciplined. And then, on day 11, I checked my bank account. Because another charge came through and I wanted to make sure I had enough for rent. And there it was. $45, auto debit, the first headphone installment. And I'll be honest with you, it felt like a surprise bill. I knew intellectually that I had signed up for this. I had agreed to 4 payments of $45. That was my decision in writing 9 days earlier. But because there was no single moment where I'd handed over 180, the individual installment hit differently. It felt like something was taking money from me rather than something I had chosen. That's not a flaw in my character. That's exactly how the product is designed to feel. Each payment is meant to feel like a small, separate event, disconnected from the purchase, disconnected from the other payments, disconnected from the total. Here's what I expected going into week 2 versus what actually happened. I expected to feel in control because I had a tracker and a plan. What actually happened? By day 14, I had already lost clear track of which installment plans were still active, how many payments remained on each one, and when the next auto debits were hitting. I had a spreadsheet, and I still lost track. That tells you something important about how BNPL is designed to work. Segment hook. So I built a proper BNPL tracker spreadsheet. Here's what the math showed. After the week 2 surprise, I got serious. I made a proper tracker. Purchase name, full price, installment amount, number of payments remaining, next due date, BNPL service used, and a running total of all outstanding obligations. Week 3, one more purchase. $372 camera lens. Look, it was a limited time deal. 4 payments of $93. I logged it. And here's what my total outstanding BNPL balance looked like at that point. $847 spread across 4 different active plans on 3 different platforms. Now, wait, here's the part most people miss. Go check your credit report right now after all of that. Look for BNPL. You won't find it. Not Afterpay, not Klarna, not Affirm in most cases. BNPL debt is largely invisible to the credit reporting system. It doesn't affect your debt-to-income ratio. It doesn't show up in most budgeting apps unless you manually add it. It doesn't factor into a lender's assessment of how much you owe. So, on the paper that every financial institution uses to evaluate your financial health, I had 0 outstanding BNPL obligations. My credit score reflected nothing. My budget app reflected nothing. Even my bank statement only showed individual auto debits, not the total picture. I had $847 in outstanding financial obligations and felt financially fine. That is the phantom balance problem. And it's not a rare edge case. It's the default experience for anyone using BNPL. Now let's talk about the cost of getting it wrong. If you miss one payment with Afterpay, the late fee is $10. On a $50 installment, that's a 20% penalty. Think about that. Credit cards get destroyed in the press for 24%, 29% APR. A single missed Afterpay installment at $10 and on a $50 payment is a 20% hit in one shot. And many people do miss payments because, as I just showed you, the installments are easy to lose track of. By week 3 of my experiment, I missed one. Not because I didn't have the money, because the auto debit hit on a Thursday, my paycheck posts on Friday, and I hadn't thought to pre-position the funds. $10 late fee. Gone. So I developed what I'm calling the 3-question framework. Before any BNPL purchase, ask yourself 3 things. Question 1. Can I afford the full price today? If yes, pay in full. You gain nothing from splitting it. Question 2. Is this purchase a want or a need? If it's a want, wait 24 hours. This is the oldest trick in personal finance, and it works. The urgency that BNPL checkout creates is a sales tool. If you still want it tomorrow, revisit it. Question 3. Do I already have active BNPL installments? If yes, do not add another plan. Not until at least one existing plan is fully paid off. 3 questions. They sound obvious. But I promise you, if you actually stop at checkout and ask them out loud, you will make different decisions. Day 30. Here are the exact numbers. Total BNPL entered into during the 30 days. 847 across 4 purchases. Total already paid in installments by day 30, $423.50. Outstanding balance remaining. Money still owed, not yet paid, not visible on my credit report, 423.50 size. Late fees incurred, $10. One missed payment, week 3. Total felt price at checkout for all 4 purchases combined, $211.75. That's what my brain processed as the cost. Estimated overspending versus what I would have spent paying cash, approximately $190. That last number needs context. Research consistently shows that BNPL users spend roughly 20 to 22% more per transaction than they would paying cash or even card. My 4 purchases totaled $847. Apply 22%. That's about $190 in spending I would not have done if I'd been looking at the full price and paying it in one moment. $190. Not a fee. Not interest. Just the gap between how my brain priced things with installment framing versus how it would have priced them without it. Now, I want to be straight with you about what didn't work, because this video isn't a highlight reel. It's a real experiment, and real experiments have failures. The tracker only helped on the days I actually updated it. Week 3, I missed 3 days. When you fall behind on the tracker, it becomes unreliable immediately. BNPL is fast. You can add a new plan in 30 seconds. Logging it takes another 60. And when life gets busy, the 60 seconds goes first. Cancelling mid-installment is messier than it sounds. I looked into it when I wanted to close one plan early. Most services require full repayment of the remaining balance, not just stopping future payments. You don't get to walk away. You get to pay it all at once, which is exactly what you were trying to avoid. And the 3-question framework is easy to ignore when you really want something. I know this because I ignored it for the camera lens. I asked myself the questions. I answered them honestly. No, I could not afford the full price today. Yes, it was a want. Yes, I had active installments. And I bought it anyway. The framework works if you enforce it. You have to be the enforcement mechanism. Here's the number that surprised me most though. Not the $847, not the $10 late fee. The $190 in overspending I wouldn't have done if I'd paid cash. That's not a penalty the company charged me, that's just my own brain repricing reality because the checkout screen showed me $93 instead of $372. BNPL didn't steal that $190. I handed it over because I was looking at the wrong number. So here's what I actually think after 30 days. BNPL isn't evil. I want to be clear about that. It's a legitimate financial product that has real uses. If you genuinely cannot afford a necessary purchase today and have a clear plan to repay it, an interest-free installment plan is objectively better than a credit card carrying 25% APR. But it is a tool that works against you by default unless you actively manage it. The invisible debt problem is real. If your budget does not include every outstanding BNPL obligation, your budget is wrong. You are planning around incomplete information. And financial decisions made with incomplete information are, by definition, flawed, even if they feel fine in the moment. The phantom balance is the real risk, not the fees, not the missed payment penalties. Those are bad, but they're small. The real risk is that you can be hundreds of dollars further from financial stability than you think you are, and every tool you use to check, your bank app, your credit report, your budgeting software, will confirm that you're fine, because they can't see it either. Here's your action step. Right now, after this video. Open your bank statement, not the app, the actual statement, and look at the last 60 days. Find every BNPL auto debit. Afterpay, Klarna, Affirm, Sezzle, Zip, whatever you've used. Add up all the remaining balances, not just the payments you've already made. Go to each app and find the outstanding amount on every active plan. That total is your phantom balance. Write it down. Add it to your budget as a real liability, because it is one. Once you know the real number, you can make real decisions. And next video, I'm going to take my first actual investment step. I'm putting $100 into the market for the very first time, tracking exactly what I bought, why I bought it, and what happened. No theory, no hypotheticals, the actual result. Subscribe so you don't miss it. If this experiment showed me anything, it's that financial tools are only as good as the visibility they give you. And BNPL is specifically engineered to minimize that visibility. Check out the Money System playlist if you want to see how this fits into a bigger picture. The emergency fund video is the right next step if you haven't watched it yet, because the phantom balance problem gets a lot worse when you don't have a buffer. $847 in debt I forgot I had, and it felt like nothing.